Alright, it is a Wednesday, October the 27th, 9:26 a.m. and the main wash list is super small. These aren't really stocks that I'm looking at too much, but I guess PUGE could be a morning panic bounce play if it does something actually considerable. It could be a short also at some point, but not right now. BTZI could be more likely a short. Maybe it has a spike towards resistance, basing it off of this highs right here. That could be an interesting setup. KAVL, I'm gonna have to I think I'm gonna start looking at some listed stocks, but I don't have that much experience with them, so I'll probably just trade very small positions, because they're just moving so much. I have to take them into consideration. It would be kind of ignorant. I remember before, when I was first starting, I would only look at listed stocks, and I didn't like OTCs because of commissions. At that time period, you had to trade them with commissions, and I just didn't want to trade them. But then they started like popping off, and I had to prioritize. So that's my theory here, and a lot of them seem to really make a nice move throughout the day, and then they kind of just fall off a cliff by the end of the day after hours. So I'll just take these things into consideration if we have any setups or not, but I'll trade small because I'm not, again, necessarily that interested in trading listed stocks. I like OTCs more, but if they're very crazy, I have to take them into consideration. Alright, it is 9:43. I didn't really see any morning panic bounce plays except for HMBL. This one actually really worked. It looks very crazy on the chart, but in theory I was interested in it at 65.59, and it did get as high as this level at 69, and a move from that level, this bottom here, to 68, it's like 3%, so it's not really that much percent range, but it definitely looks like a lot of movement on the charts. This one really worked out, and I hesitated because SIRC the other day was similar in that it had a very bad daily chart, but this one did turn around, maybe because it's actually trying to make a move, and SIRC was just trading randomness. I don't know, maybe SIRC was just a really bad stock, but that was really interesting. Hopefully I can be able to actually trade one of these and it actually works out, but it's kind of rare that the morning panic bounce play setup just fails like it did with SIRC, and I thought maybe it had to do with the daily chart, but this one also has a crappy daily chart, but I guess it's because they had a run up previously. I have no idea, but this one totally made a move. I could have been able to be in at 65.69. That's pretty cool. MARK, this one's just weird. I'm just leaving it alone. There's not necessarily anything I want to do with it, but I do like how it just fell off a cliff, and maybe it can try to do some kind of reversal day at some point, maybe today. It's gonna really depend. BTZI is just a wash. I'm not interested in it really. AIAD is trying to come back. I'm not really interested in this pattern. KAVL, maybe an inverse head and shoulders, but I don't see that right now. And this is a new one. This is another OTC, and maybe if it drops towards VWAP and plays off of it, maybe, but that's what I have for right now. Even though I didn't get to be a part of it, at least the setup recently is still working. It didn't work with SIRC, but clearly this is an example of one that did work out, and it doesn't have a good daily chart, so that's pretty cool to look at. Alright, it is 10:15 a.m. and it seems like I'm actually right on a lot of setups, and I don't necessarily take them. Eventually I can just try pushing myself to the point where I can actually trade some of these setups, and not just be in setups that don't work like SIRC yesterday, but setups that do work like HMBL. There's one thing to note. One reason why I didn't take it is because even though the bottom here was 65.11, I think the bid was like 65.04 or 65.09, and I didn't want to necessarily be in a setup, and these things do kind of trade with spread, so I hit the ask, right, and then immediately somebody actually hits the bid and it downtrends, right? But sometimes the level holds, right? Like even though the bid is much lower, than where it's actually trading. I just don't like that feeling of, maybe just getting in the trade and then that bid actually hits, it makes the day low, and then there's a panic sell or something like that. But this one did work out, and I was actually considering a short setup here, but I didn't take it because there was a lot of people supporting it at 69, and I was thinking, like, how much room can this thing have if it does something like that where it starts to downtrend. And it's nice, I mean, yeah, now it's looking a little weird, but it did get to 67, and I would have traded just a small position. Honestly, this isn't really a best case scenario. This isn't really an ideal short setup. As for BTZI, I was interested in shorting this one too at some point, but I don't like the way it trades. It just doesn't really have the volume or consistency. It's a little choppy in the chart, so I never took it. As for KAVL, this one keeps downtrending, and I don't think this one was even short. Was this? Maybe it was shortable. Let's just see. Let's get rid of this one. I wonder if this one was actually shortable at some point. No, this thing was not shortable, at least on Schwab. Maybe it's shortable somewhere else, but I was looking for maybe an inverse head and shoulders. I don't really like trading listed stocks that much, but this was in theory the shoulder head, and then this one failed. And the thing with this one is that when it's just downtrending, it doesn't really have a high probability for inverse head and shoulders to play out. It's more likely here now that it's been consolidating for a while, but this could be the shoulder, maybe a head here, and then it tries to do something. But you also look at the daily chart, and that's just just really recently, actually not too long ago, there was a big spike right here with a whole bunch of volume. So all those people might be selling into this entire run up today, so that's also something to take into consideration. But I'll keep looking at it. And I also did hesitate with this one, WSRC. This was like a little too aggressive for me to have really traded it, but I'm glad I was right and the setup worked, because this thing is a bit sketchy because it does trade with a lot of range, and it was its first day, and it was looking like it was going to have a large wick, which it does have right now. But at the time here, it was just having this dip under VWAP, and it actually held itself together. It did turn around here, and yeah, I was just too hesitant because you're in at let's say you're in at 11.2 was the level I would have been in, because I was at the ask for a pretty long time, and then it kind of breaks immediately 10.8. Like, I just don't like that. I don't like that range to risk, but it did turn around here. I was watching it thinking maybe it could try again, but it was lower than this range and it actually failed. So that's where I'm at right now. I don't see anything I truly want to trade, but I was right on a lot of setups. Hopefully I can be able to trade some of these. If I don't trade anything today, that'll be fine. I do have a lot of work I need to catch up with, but ideally I can try to at least put myself in some of these positions, and some of them were very profitable. Some of them didn't work out, but most of them were very nice. Alright, it is 12:06 p.m. and I have a lot of work to do. I will probably not make another update until the markets have closed. Ideally I look forward to the day when the OTC runners have like really good volume, because something with BTZI could do something more clear, as in a more consistent lower highs and then lower lows for some kind of a number 6 short setup. It did have this little freaky little spike here, and if this thing had more volume, I don't think it would have really have done something like that, and it just fell off a cliff. So that's pretty cool. A short in the 14s, and then I guess a cover maybe in the 12. That's pretty nice. As for HMBL, now it's just trading back and forth, so there was that slight opportunity to take a short there and basically risk off the freaking high right here, and then with the whole thing in mind that this thing is just a pretty dead pump for where it is right now. Although it can try to do something later, it could just fade off again. And that was an interesting setup there. KAVL, it did do this inverse head and shoulders eventually. It did one of these, right? But it's just a bit unpredictable. I guess it kind of did one here too, but I would have saw this as the head, shoulder, and that went from 205 to 222. So there is opportunity with the listed stocks, but they're just freaky, and you can see how this just has a big red candle just flash, and you know, I really don't like stocks that do stuff like that. WSRC did do a turnaround here, but it was less ideal because it was lower than this level, and you know, it still made a nice move, but I wouldn't have really have taken something like this. But this one definitely offered opportunity and a risk level. So again, I feel like I'm on the right track, but I need to push myself into actually trading these, and I need to not take it personally if I you know, take a setup and it doesn't work out. If it's just a setup that, you know, works more often than not, I just can't take it. I can't take it that seriously. That personally, it's just a trade setup, because that did kind of mess with me in terms of that nice dip buy opportunity, morning panic bounce play with HMBL. I think that can help me a lot. I'm probably going to continue to keep a distance from listed stocks unless they really try the ramp up, because I just don't want to get, you know, too carried away with two different types of setups. And yeah, that's all I have for right now. Okay, it is 7:20 and I'm here to call it off and just see what has happened since. I did a lot of work, but I am still nowhere near caught up, and it looks like BTZI just kept trading back and forth. I really look forward to the time when these OTCs can start to trade with better volume. HMBL again was that morning panic bounce play that actually worked out. Maybe I could try tomorrow if there's another morning panic bounce play on a similar stock and it'll actually work, unlike SIRC yesterday. As for KAVL, just a few potential inverse head and shoulders. I might try to look at these a little closely, but you know, closer than previously. However, they are choppy listed stocks, and I don't necessarily want to just get in and out you know, a bunch of times in different looking listed stocks that are very, very, very choppy, although they do at least trade with, yeah, a lot more volume. WSRC actually did continue an uptrend later. That's pretty cool. I don't think I would have been trading this at any point, but the other one, I don't know if I mentioned it. This was another setup that I was interested in, but I also hesitated here with INND, and this one actually did break out. I wanted to have traded this because I kind of, you know, have this rule where I just shouldn't trade really after 2 p.m. But this one did a nice afternoon breakout, and maybe this one can try to do more than just one green day. The volume is there for something like that, so I'll totally be watching something like this. Maybe ideally this one can continue a run up, maybe play off a VWAP again, maybe better than this day here, and that could be something I can take into consideration. It really stinks because, you know, listed stocks seem to be doing a lot more things than OTCs, but I just don't want to like jump back and forth. I want to get really good at one thing, and if I have to go through a drought perhaps, you know, and maybe casually dip into listed stock setups, I think that will be better than just being mediocre at both things. I'd rather continue to get better at OTCs and keep working towards that. So yeah, no trades today, but I was right on a lot of setups, and I just need a little more confidence and conviction, and that can really help me trade a lot better. But yeah, that was it for today, and that's all I have for today.